Hi guys, welcome to episode 9 of Ready Steady Read. So welcome to episode 9 of Ready Steady Read. Thank you so much for joining me again here today. I've been getting some great feedback from you guys, so thank you very much for that. If you haven't done so already, then please click the subscribe button just at the bottom here. Make sure you obviously click the notification button, and this will let you know when new videos go up on our YouTube channel. So today we're going to be talking about one of my all-time favourite magicians, Mr. Jack Carpenter. So welcome to episode 9. Before I start talking about today's subject, Jack Carpenter, just a little bit of a background to how I was first introduced to his work. So way back, probably when I was about 14, 15, it wasn't unusual if you wanted to get hold of a magic book to be able to walk into Waterstones, the book dealer, and order the book that you were after. You can still do it now, obviously. You would walk in, or certainly the one in Maidstone where I used to live, what I would do is quite often go in there, see if there was any magic books that had come in, and then if there wasn't any magic books that had come in, normally Dover publications, then I would order the books in. Modern Coin Magic I'd ordered from Waterstones, my first copy of Expert at the Card Table I ordered from Waterstones, and also this book, which I've talked about previously on a vlog with Harry, and also I think I've done this in one of my newsletter columns. This is Expert Card Technique by Frederick Brown and Jon Hugard. It's a fantastic book. It's a classic magic book. Expert Card Technique, close-up table magic. It's chock full of card sleights, card routines. I'm of the opinion Expert Card Technique is a bit of a misnomer. It's not necessarily expert in the sense of the word now. When I first got into magic, then it might have been. There are certainly some, at the time, more advanced techniques in here, but you know, given the way that magic has kind of progressed over the years, there's a lot more magicians that really, you know, they're already doing this sort of stuff as their introduction to card magic. So it's quite a good quantum shift to see how people that are getting into magic now are actually coming in at a more intermediate to advanced level than they are at a basic level, making their way up. So I'm sure there's pros and cons to that. But this has certainly got some heavy duty stuff in here. There's stuff on the double lift, there's work to do with estimation, there's the push through shuffle, I believe, is in here, glimpse, peeking, card changes, there's a section of full shuffles there, palming, there's a whole host of different things in here. You have routines at the back here by notable people such as Di Vernon and Louis Singon. You have Charlie Miller. There's just a whole load of different stuff in here. It's certainly a classic text, like I said. The reason I mention it in the context of Jack Carpenter is because in here, right at the very beginning, or virtually at the beginning, you have a section that is on the double lift. That's the first chapter in here, secret lifts, so the double lift, triple and quadruple lifts. And then the second chapter is actually on full steals, so things like the second deal, both the push off and the strike second deal, the bottom deal, the middle deal or centre deal, and the double deal. And to someone that loves sleight of hand, that was getting in more and more with sleight of hand, this was kind of one of the things that I really wanted to learn. I really wanted to learn how to do the second deal to start off with, and then obviously the bottom deal from there, and then the centre deal if I would ever make my way to that. Try as I might, even though I felt I understood the technique, it never really gelled. There wasn't anything that, I wasn't really making a lot of headway, and so for a long time I gave up on it. And I would come back to it, I'd read the book, I'd pick up the deck of cards again, and then I'd try the deal out. And like I said, mechanically, even though I knew what was going on, it just didn't seem to work for me. And then quite a few years later, after that, I was introduced to the work of Martin Nash. I got his set of videos, they were at the time, Charm and Cheat videos. I got all 6 of them, or actually I think it was 5 that I had, but I believe there's 6 in total. And one of the very last things or very, very last volumes, which I believe was volume 5, it showed you how, or he showed you how to do his version of the second deal, both the strike and the push off. And so I worked on it, and you know what, I got what I felt the technique down, but it was very much more set for demonstration purposes, not really applicable for magic or even gambling routines. It was very much a demonstration type move for me, the way that I did it. And even though I was comfortable with it and I felt pretty good about it, I never really understood how I could use it in a routine, in an effect, be like gambling or a magic trick. And so, you know, if I just used to do it for friends, and that was kind of about it. And when I say friends, I mean magic friends, obviously, and that was kind of about it. Then I was introduced to the work of Jack Carpenter, and I was introduced to the work of Jack Carpenter through his, again, videos. He had one video on card magic, he had another video on gambling routines. Subsequently, he's had another set, which are the Seattle sessions, I believe they're called, volume 1 and 2. He's done a at the table lecture. He's done a penguin lecture. Actually, I don't think he's done a penguin lecture, but he's done lectures. He's got several publications, of which we'll be talking about in just a second. And so my introduction to Jack Carpenter through that, he talks about doing second deals, doing false deals, and he has some really, really valid points. And the valid points being that when it comes to the false deals, it's not really about the deals themselves, although there is a technique there. It's really about the timing. So I learned how to do some more of the gambling type stuff. And I learned how to do what I thought was a passable second deal. The idea being that when you would take the card, you could deal it to the table just like this and still have the card on top of the deck. And I got what I felt pretty good at this, where you would deal the card just down onto the table here, like so, and what you would see is hopefully nothing. Now obviously with the card face up, it doesn't look very good, but with the card face down, it should look a lot better. And he taught me about the timing of the second deal and the kind of way that you can apply it to magic tricks, you can apply it to what looks like a really complicated sleight of hand in regards to gambling demonstrations, but I really sort of played around with it a lot. But unfortunately, even though I'd seen the DVDs, there wasn't at the time very much more that I found out about him, certainly not at that point, until one time a friend of mine went up to Blackpool, and I happened to say to him, because I wasn't going, could you look out for a couple of books for me? They're both by Jack Carpenter. The first one is called The Expert's Portfolio, so that's The Expert's Portfolio, and the second one is called Modus Operandi. And he said, yeah, I'll have a look for them. And he managed to find a copy of each one of the books. So here they are. These are the two books here. This I think was the first book that was written. This is Modus Operandi, the card magic of Jack Carpenter. It's a stunning looking book, certainly. And even though I've read this numerous times, it's actually still in pretty good condition, considering I've had it for quite a few years. There's some amazing effects in here. The Carpenter reverse assembly, a version of which you may have seen Michael Vincent do recently on Instagram. You have here the 4 at Once, which is a Flashy Age production. You have Mysterious, which is a really good effect. It's kind of Dr. Daly meets the mystery card effect. And tons of other stuff here. So let's have a look. The Centre Deal demo, and then at the end here you also have thoughts on card cheating. So you have the Carpenter full deck, full shuffle, set the job, flop seconds, and the Ellers shift by Steve Ellers. And it's just a really wonderful book that showcases Jack Carpenter's material. From there we have The Expert's Portfolio. I should just say that Modus Operandi, I don't think is in print anymore. You will probably still be able to get copies if you hunt around for it. If you get into Jack Carpenter material, then see if you can find a copy of the book. Trust me, you will be greatly rewarded. But this is really the book that I think, well, for starters, you can still get hold of this. This is the Expert's Portfolio Volume 1. In here, we have a couple of different routines. Now, I think, I should say from the outset that Jack Carpenter material ranges in skill level. So it ranges from very basic and self-working, we'll come to that in just a second, to more advanced work that uses things like bottom deals, like second deals, like riffle shuffle work, that sort of thing. But I would say this, especially in the case of the riffle shuffle work, it's really stripped back to its bare bones. And by that I mean, when you learn riffle shuffling, or if you learn riffle stacking, certainly, there are techniques to it, but it pretty much, boils down to riffling and dropping cards with your thumbs. There are certain things that you can do to help move that forward, but that is what it basically boils down to, and getting a smoothness to doing that. There is material in here that uses riffle stacking work, but what it does is it uses it in conjunction with other sleights. So, for example, 9 Angry Men, which is a routine in here, looks like a one shuffle stack for a game of poker, for a 9-handed game of poker, or actually, is it 10 hands? But regardless, it is, there we go, let's have a look. So, the expert, 4 aces on top of the deck, he immediately stacks the 4 aces for 10 hands of poker in one shuffle. I had to re-familiarise myself with that, but I do remember it being an awesome routine. And what makes it really, really good is the fact that you are outwardly saying that you're riffle stacking the aces that you cleanly place on top for a 10-handed game of poker, but in actual fact, even though it looks like it's one riffle shuffle, you do very little in the way of a riffle stack. From a technical point of view, the other half of the effect is something that incorporates a particular loading sequence and a full steal, or some full steal. So this is what I like about Jack Carpenter's work. He's saying that he's doing something much like Dolman or Tez. They say that they're doing one thing that is mega difficult gambling sleight of hand, but actually what they do is they add in some subtleties and slightly slightly easier sleight of hand to sell this idea that the complicated sleight of hand is being achieved by what they're doing openly on the table, if that makes sense. So it really is, or Jack Carpenter's material really is, to my mind, well within the capabilities of magicians at, let's say, an intermediate level. If you do advanced card magic, you will have absolutely no problem with this at all. If you do intermediate card magic, you would have absolutely no problem with this at all. To be fair, even if you were doing basic, or if you had a basic knowledge of magic, there is still material in lots and lots of Jack Carpenter's work that you'll still be able to do. With that in mind, there is an effect in here called a Potent Presage. So let's take a look at that now. I'm joined here by my wonderful wife Debbie again. It seems all the time she's joining me for card tricks and coin tricks and things. I bet you love this, don't you? Yeah, she's not saying anything. So we're going to do a card trick. Okay, well, I say card trick. This is more of an experiment in intuition, in psychic ability, all right? So to do that, we need a deck of 52 cards. In fact, you've done this plenty of times on camera, so you shouldn't feel daunted by this at all. Give those a shuffle up for me. Brilliant, excellent. And while you're doing that, I'm going to just clear my mind. I'm going to get some thoughts going through my head. It's all right. Well, no, don't apologise. That's good. And also, just so that we're clear and we don't get confused at all, there are some jokers in here. There's one there. I'll take out this one. You grab that one. All right, we'll get rid of him. Just throw him on the floor. Mine fell on the floor, so yours can fall on the floor as well. I've got to pick it up afterwards. So, did you give him a shuffle? You did give him a shuffle, didn't you? So I'm going to shuffle them as well. And I did say that I was going to let my my thoughts kind of run wild with some things. And whilst you were shuffling there, I was watching just your eyes and the way that you were shuffling, and some cards popped into my head. For instance, the first card that popped into my head, if it's in here, is the, where is it? Hopefully this is a full deck. Is the Jack of Diamonds. Let's see if it's here. So, Jack of Diamonds. There we go. Perfect. Okay. There was a second card that popped into my head as well, which was the Eight of Hearts. So, yeah, was it Eight of Hearts? Yeah, I think it's the Eight of Hearts. So, let me just find the Eight of Hearts. That should be just there. And lastly, one other card. We will go for the Three of Clubs, I think. Yeah, Three of Clubs. Perfect. So we've got 3 cards just here. And this is what I would like you to do in just a second. All right. I want you to just relax. Okay. I focused on these 3 cards, and I want you to do something really random. Okay. Random being, I want you to cut off, let's say 3/4 of the deck, and just place it just there in front of the Eight of Hearts, or behind the Eight of Hearts, that is. So about 3/4 of the deck. Perfect. Now you've got half the cards here. I want you to take and place there, approximately half. So we're left with equal packets. Perfect. Fair? And you cut wherever you wanted there, but we've got equal packets. In a moment, I'm going to ask you to deal down cards, and whenever you want to, you just stop and you place this in like a marker card and then drop the rest of the cards on top like that. Does that make sense? Okay, now I'm not going to touch the deck from now on, so you just pick them up, hold them face down, and you just deal them face down on the table, and whenever you want to, you stop. Perfect, and you just place that down there and drop the rest of the cards on top. Brilliant, okay. Oh, I did say I didn't. I did say I wasn't going to touch these. I'll tell you what, give them a shuffle. Might as well shuffle them up. So you just deal face down cards down there, and you stop wherever you want. Perfect, just the rest of the cards. And the last one with that one there, so you just deal the cards down onto the table. That's it, you don't have to shuffle them. I think you mixed that up really well. Just deal them face down onto the table. Brilliant, and then excellent. So we have this pile here. Just pick the whole pile up and drop it on top of there, and pick all that pile up and drop it on top of there. Perfect. Excellent. Neatness is important. All right. Now we have here some cards. We have the Jack of Diamonds. So these have acted like marker cards. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a bit awkward going around like this. The Three of Clubs, the Eight of Hearts, and the Jack of Diamonds. Now, do you know anything about cards at all, about playing cards? Okay, so playing cards have been around a long time, and people, rather than using tarot cards, what they would try and do is they would try and divinate people's futures by using playing cards. And each card in a deck has a pseudo mate. Okay, and by pseudo mate, it has the same value, i.e. Jack, but a different suit, but the same colour. For instance, the Jack of Diamonds would have the Jack of Hearts. Yeah, that would be the mate of the Jack of Diamonds. The Eight of Hearts would be...
Eight of Diamonds.
Yeah, it would be the Eight of Diamonds. That's completely right. And the Three of Clubs would be...
Three of Spades.
Yes, would be the Three of Spades. Now, I said that this is an experiment in psychic ability. Not yours, because yours was really down to intuition. All you did was intuit where certain cards were. If I was psychic, I'd have to prove that. I'd have to prove in some way that I knew what you would do, right? So in here, I had a prediction. You can hear it just in here. There is one card, and one card only, which happens to be the Seven of Diamonds. Thank you very much. Doesn't really prove anything. Just proves that I left a card in there, the Seven of Diamonds. Unless I was psychic and I knew exactly where you were going to stop. For instance, I might know that you would stop next to the Seven of Hearts, next to the Seven of Spades, and maybe next to the Seven of Clubs. Just like that. High five. So that was it. That was a Potent Presage. I will just let you know that it's completely self-working. It's one of the first tricks in this book, but it'll at least give you an idea of the sort of material that you're in for here. But you know, if you want to get more and more into card magic and gambling type magic, then certainly Expert's Portfolio is a book that you really need to check out, along with Modus Operandi, of course. A few years ago, Jack Carpenter released the Expert's Portfolio Volume 2. Now, This particular copy, to my knowledge, you can only get it from a few places. I got mine direct from Jack Carpenter. Now, I actually got this in 2017, so this has been out a couple of years, but I think it's only becoming more and more apparent in the public awareness this last couple of months or so. It is, again, chock full of fantastic material. The difference between this one and this one here is the fact that in here you have line drawings. These have been replaced in here with black and white photos. They're still very, very clear. They still are very, very well written up. Both books still have introductions by Darwin Ortiz. You can see why Darwin is such a fan of Jack Carpenter's. As you can imagine, he gets to see a lot of card magic, he gets to see a lot of magic, and it's very rare, I think, that, you know, card magic that gets sent to really touches a nerve of him. But I can see just by the introduction that he is very much into Jack Carpenter's work, as you would be too. You only have to read the books that are in front of me here to realise that Jack is, you know, he's a fantastic magician. He really knows what he's talking about. If you want to see him perform, then obviously, I said before, he done the At the Table lecture, which is an amazing lecture. He did the Seattle sessions. You still can get hold of the gambling and magic videos as well, so I would heartily recommend checking them out. Also, Jack has a YouTube channel, so if you look for Jack Carpenter on YouTube, there's tons of videos on there, both routines and sleights that he performs. Now, when I say sleights that he performs, they're not performance and explanation. You don't get a performance of the sleight and an explanation of it, purely because they're on YouTube, so obviously people can seek them out. But what you do get is you get a name for it. So on the At the Table lecture, for example, he does something called the Leclerc pass. Now, if you look on YouTube, he performs a newer version of the Leclerc pass. So you get a performance of it, but you don't get an explanation of it. But you really get to see how he kind of thinks about things. And trust me, you know, you look at the routines that are on there, some of the moves that he demonstrates, we as magicians know what they are. So if he's talking about switches, for example, we know that he's going to do a switch, but trust me, when you watch it, you think to yourself, how on earth did anybody come up with this? You know, they really must be thinking outside the box to come up with something like that. So I'm a big Jack Carpenter fan. I think the magic is and gambling is truly amazing. So if you haven't done so already, then take my advice, check out the Expert's Portfolio Volume 1, and if you get bitten by the bug, check out the videos, check out the Expert's Portfolio number 2. If you can find a copy, check out Modus Operandi, because I guarantee you'll be a Jack Carpenter convert before you know it. So that's it today from me. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you haven't done so already, I said it before, click the subscribe button just at the bottom here, and also make sure you click the notification button to be notified of when new videos go up on the YouTube channel. It only leaves me to say have a great couple of weeks, and I look forward to seeing you next time on Ready Steady Read.